The footage you are about to see was recorded over 3 months ago because things did not go as planned. I'll explain later, but just bear that in mind. Welcome back to the K-Swap. Those of you that saw the last video know that this car now runs, drives, and it's still not leaking. Seriously, one of the biggest accomplishments of my life. It was not easy getting here. Those of you that know. I'll have the playlist in the corner and description for anybody that's new, but this is a K20 C4 out of an Accord now in my SI. And yes, it is on the road, but there is some fine tuning that has to be done. So this video is gonna be all about getting it running 100% and getting it ready for the dyno. So first thing I wanna start with is addressing the actual codes. First issue I wanna address is the evap code. So this is the evap sensor. When I first got the code, I thought it might've been a faulty sensor. So what I did originally, this is the SI sensor, that's the Accord one over there. So I tried swapping them, that didn't fix it, and that told me that it's not an issue with the sensor, it's an issue with the routing. So I was looking at these lines, checking it over, and luckily there is a customer card here that I use as a diagram, and it didn't take me long to realize, okay, this is wrong. So this line here on the charge pipe should be on intake manifold. So having this before the throttle body over here instead of after will definitely affect the system. So this I'm gonna route over here, and I talked to Tony about this too. Shout out as always. I'll plug this off and that should fix that issue. That's the first thing I'm gonna do. And then after that, I have to figure out the code I have for the bypass valve here. So this is the electronic wastegate. I'm thinking it just needs some adjustment, but we'll look into that next. For some reason, the audio didn't work here, but I'm explaining the work I did. I capped off that nipple on the inlet pipe, and then I was out of connections on the back on the intake manifold, so I added a T, and I was able to connect all the hoses. Look at that. Cleared the codes. There's nothing on the dash right now, so I'm gonna drive it, see what comes back. I have class. I gotta leave in 10 minutes, so we gotta make this quick. All right, still nothing. Oh, those axles, that binding, it sounds terrible. All right, whoa, it's breaking up a little bit. All right, going smooth now. Nothing. Look at that. No lights on the dash. Cruise control going. I mean, I think this is it. I think we're set. I talked to Derek, I sent him the base map, he said all the fuel trims look good. This might be good to go. Oh, let's go. The good news is there's no codes, mechanically it is sound. Derek even said fuel trims look good, everything is good. So on paper the car is ready for the dyno, except I really don't like what's going on with these axles. It sounds absolutely terrible, and they should not be binding like they are. So I'm gonna get it on the lift, we're gonna take a look. I don't like it. Okay, here's what I know so far. Just looking at them, they look fine. Started the car, ran the car, turned the wheel with the car in gear, no noise. Got this onto the scissor lift, put it on there so we could load the suspension, see what it looked like with the weight of the car on it. Nothing too concerning there. Jacked it up actually from the control arms even, and then also ran it, still not making any noise. Did a drive around the parking lot, and you can only create the noise when turning with the weight of the car on the ground and under load. So if I'm pulling out of the parking lot and accelerating, then I'm gonna hear the noise. And it's tricky, but what I've learned from Tony is that he had to re-grease this one already because the boot ripped, so he already redid this one. And the noise seems to be coming from the driver's side. I really don't have much to go off of, but what I'm gonna try to do is, I don't have many options, so I'm gonna pull this out and try to take the driver's side axle apart and re-grease it, see if there's anything obviously going on in there, and that's all I have to go off of right now. I will say this part of the axle that connects to the half shaft does feel loose. I don't know if you guys can hear it, but I don't know if that's necessarily the cause of the noise, but it does seem a little loose. You know what, looking at this again, maybe after driving for a little bit, it does look like there's a couple super tiny rips. Now there's nothing slinging, but there's actually even one on this side too. So interesting. I don't think that would cause an issue unless it's been driven on for a long time like that and it leaked out a ton. Nonetheless, I'm going to take this apart, get the boot off so we can see what it actually looks like in there. I mean, if there is no grease in there, then obviously we know that's the problem. But maybe they're getting stretched too much from the camber and the angle. I'm not really sure, but that is something to point out. Well, there's a lot to uncover here, and pretty much none of it is good, which, hey, that's nothing new around here. At this point, I wouldn't be surprised if I leave the dyno and get hit by a meteor. Like, it just doesn't, it doesn't end. It doesn't end. Again, plot twist, keeps it interesting, keeps you guys entertained. So, welcome to the journey. Long story short, though, these axles are shot. For those of you who are new, probably the most difficult part of the swap and most complicated part is the axles. Because, for example, you have two options, either custom axles or you can swap the entire suspension. If you swap the entire suspension, I mean the entire suspension, all Type R parts, so knuckle, control arm, everything, brakes, all of it. If you swap all of that, then you can use the Type R axles. If you don't do that, and I don't think anybody's gone that route yet, but it should all bolt up, I might even be considering that option at this point, and I'm going to get into that. Because this was recorded so long ago, there's a lot that's changed, and I'm going to interrupt myself a lot. The more I looked into the Type R route, the less sense it made. Not only are you changing the whole suspension so you can use the axles, you also need to change the brakes. There's different hubs, which means you need different wheels, different tires, which then means you'll have different wheels in the front than the rear, so you might as well change the rear to the Type R hub. And then the whole stance of the car is different, so you might have to do body work. You might have to modify the fenders. It just turns into this chain reaction that is more time and money than it makes sense. It is custom axles though. That's, as far as I know, Tony and Alex, who have done this before me, they went the custom axle route. So let me explain why. These aren't my axles. These are Tony's axles, and I'm borrowing these axles because I ordered axles 6 months ago. A very important part of this timeline is that I had still not made my AKD video where I talked about how this company essentially stole my money. To this day, it's been 10 or 11 months. I don't even care anymore. I still have not gotten any product. I have not gotten my refund. It's been a whole disaster. If you have not seen that video, I've actually made 2 talking about this topic now. I'll link it in the corner. I'll talk a little more about that at the end, but that's why in this video, I have so much built up anger because I've been trying. I really did try to keep this personal because I've been arguing with them for so long. And I wanted to keep the company, keep it offline and not just publicly destroy them, but that's what it's kind of come to. And it wasn't pretty. So check that out if you don't know what's going on there. And I also have more updates about Drive Shaft Shop at the end. So these are Tony's axles though. He was nice enough to let me borrow his axles because he's currently building his motor and he let me use his axles. Oh, so I paid to ship these across the country from California because I didn't have my axles. So these are Tony's. Right, everything seemed to fit well, but the binding and the clicking, no good. Took them out, tore them apart. Here's what I have. So if you look at the walls where the balls usually sit, there's a lot of scoring and there's some pits you can actually feel with your fingers. And that just looks like long-term wear. So I put maybe 5 miles on these, so it's nothing I could have caused. But you know, Tony said I asked him, is there a chance maybe the measurements are wrong? But he said, no, it's just really heavy abuse. He admits, like, he drove on these really hard. And it looks like they wore over time. But he's only had these maybe 2 years. So he's going to reach out to Drive Shaft Shop, see if they're going to, I don't know, fix this something. But he needs a new set of axles. My original plan was going to be, hey, these axles are no good, but they still work. So I was going to put grease in them, throw them back in the car and just drive on it for the time being. What ended up happening was Tony reached out to Drive Shaft Shop. He said, hey, these axles are no good, right? Unfortunately, the axles were just outside of the 1-year warranty period, but Drive Shaft Shop has such good customer service, they decided to still honor the warranty. So what I ended up doing was I took his axles, I shipped them out the Drive Shaft Shop, because what they do is they use the original length of the shaft and they just rebuild the outer part, and that meant I no longer had axles. As I was recording that video, seeing how good his experience was with Drive Shaft Shop, even though for some reason the axles he had were something was off, I placed my order with them as I was recording that video. So a little over 3 months ago, I placed that order, and I'll talk a little more again at the end about some of the current updates and the status with that. As I'm recording this video right now, it is December 29th. I don't know when I'm posting this, so Happy New Year's, Happy Holidays. It's about to be 2024. It's been a rough year, honestly, but I'm optimistic about next year. And here is the current situation, because again, a lot of this is old footage. As of today, with AKD, still no update. Some of the interesting things that have happened recently, a lot of people were talking about them on the forums, and I decided to chime in. And I made a thread, and I talked about my experience, basically, a lot of the stuff you guys already know. And they ended up getting banned, which is really bad for them, because forums are a really popular and important spot for vendors to advertise their products, and whoever runs the forums decided that they are not trustworthy enough to be on there. So they got banned. Right after they got banned, they sent me an email, I guess essentially threatening me, and something about like, you just put the nail in your last coffin. I don't think they're going to do anything, but you never know. There's some crazy people out there. I was trying to get my money back through the bank, trying to reverse the transaction. They said it was out of date, but I'm trying to get them to make some sort of exception here. They asked me to file a police report. I go to the police station, I file a police report. Apparently, the police actually reached out to Steven at AKD. They called him. Steven then emails me again. He's like, hey, just, the parts are coming, blah, blah, blah. Same whatever story. I don't know what's going on. Again, I'm still, to this day, fighting to get my money back. And that's all I have with AKD as of now. Still no hope. Drive Shaft Shop. I placed that order when I was recording this original footage. Now, at the end of December, the last update I got from them is that the axles should be shipping January 1st or 2nd, which is huge, which is also really good timing, because I'm now on my semester break. I'm still working and I'm taking a winter class, but I should have a lot more time to get back into YouTube, and the timing works out great because I'll be able to get the car on the road, running, ready to go over break. I'm so excited, assuming everything works out and the axles fit, because, oh my God, if the axles don't fit, it's going to be rough. But I'm excited to be back, and I kind of took a little bit of a break, as you guys saw, and honestly, being away for so long made me realize, wow, I really miss YouTube, and it also made me realize, wow, I really hate school. Don't take calculus and don't skip classes. It was rough. I feel much better now, and I feel mentally I'm in a better space. Saw myself recording those other videos, and I was like, man, I don't look good. I feel a lot better now, though, and I'm happy to be back, and I'm going to get into making more videos, but my schedule is still crazy, so I'm just recording here and there when I can. But assuming those axles come in, the car should be back. So big stuff to look forward to. If you guys aren't already, follow my Instagram. I post when more updates if you want to be up to date on everything, and get ready. So thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.